Your thoughts are not who you are. Welcome to this edition of Tuesday Talks with Twyla. You've probably heard this before. You've probably heard me say it before, but I don't think that we can hear this enough, even for me. The thoughts that we have can feel like they're part of us. They can feel like they're happening to us, and they can feel like they're just the news, like they're facts. But thoughts are always optional and we can always change them. But the key is to notice, to become aware of them and separate from them. Because when we don't do that, they feel like they're part of us. They feel like we are our thoughts, like they're part of us, right? They're in our head, they're part of who we are. And so we don't feel like we can change them. We don't feel like they're separate, and we don't feel like we have control over them, but we always do. The space in between is simply the awareness, the noticing of them, and then separating from them. And I love the analogy of putting the thought in our hand and taking a look at it. As soon as we do that, that separation, that changes us. In that moment, we are different. We are separate from the thought. We're taking a look at it and we can get fascinated with it. We can get curious about it. And when we're doing that, we're thinking about the thought and it's no longer part of us. It's no longer integrated in us. It's separate from us. We're taking a look at it. We're stepping back and we're getting curious and we're getting fascinated. That's my new favorite way to describe it. And when we're doing that, we get a little bit of relief instantly because we're separate from it. And that's when we realize we don't have to think this. We don't have to choose this. Because as soon as we know that, as soon as we look at it, we realize that's optional. I don't have to think that if I don't want to. And even if we decide to think it, we still have agency over it. It still is within our control, within our power, and we're making the decision consciously. Because a lot of the times, especially if it feels like the thoughts are part of us or who we are, that's the difference, right? Is having that separation and taking a look at it and feeling like we have control, feeling that empowerment of, I don't have to think this, but I might want to, and that's okay, but I'm doing it consciously. Because when it's integrated, it's not conscious. It's not that separation. That's the difference. And when it's unconscious, that's when it feels like it's part of who we are. That's when it feels like it's integrated. It feels like it is who we are, not part of who we are. It feels like it is who we are, but it's not. Our thoughts are not who we are. Our thoughts are just part of the human experience. It's part of what happens in our human body, in our human mind, but it's always optional. And so I'm going to be here screaming this from the rooftops forever because even I need the reminder. As I'm doing my thought work or I'm doing my belief work, I'm honestly shocked at how easily it is to lose sight of it, to lose track of the awareness, and all of a sudden go, oh my gosh, I have not been intentional. I have not been directing my thoughts in the direction that I want to. And I'll even have days where I'm really good. And then all of a sudden there'll be a few days before I'll catch that I've fallen off track. And I'm just shocked. I thought I'd put the habit in place. I thought I had practiced it enough. And yet I'll slip right back into the unconscious existing, is what I like to call it, because I'm not being intentional. I'm not directing the way that I want to. And I'm not creating the experience that I want. And when I tell you that the work is ongoing, I think sometimes we're like, oh, then I'm out, right? Like if I'm just going to have to do this forever, right? But we're already thinking every day. It's not like we're just, I think we, and I do this, like just kind of coast and like take our hands off the wheel and just let whatever happens, happens. But then when I realize that that's what's been happening, and I look at the days and the experience, I'm bummed out that I didn't take back the reins and redirect my thoughts and continue to do the work because I know it does get easier. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it, right? Especially if it was easy for a while and then we coast again and it's like, oh my gosh, that's where my brain went. That's where my thoughts went. And it can feel very frustrating, but it's no different than anything else in our life. Our human body needs daily regimen, right? If it's our eating habits, if it's our exercise, like none of that maintains without daily effort. Everything in our life is that way. And managing our mind is no different. It's just part of our daily routine. And it doesn't have to be like your workouts might be 30 to 60 minutes a day and recommended, right? Like whether you're lifting weights or just walking daily. Probably the recommendation would be, you know, I would say at least 15 to 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, right? Thought work does not have to take that long to have a significant change in your experience. And so it can just be a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes sometime during the day where you just pause and take a look at what am I thinking about and what do I want to be thinking about? And I've talked a lot of times about having that go-to sentence that is like kind of the what came to mind was the mantra of the season or of the day or of the week or of the month, but it's kind of your go-to so that it is kind of like that lens that we look at everything in our life. And so like most recently it was, I'm having the most abundant summer ever. And that did put that lens on everything. Does that mean that everything in my life was just rosy, like wearing rosy colored glasses, like everything was perfect? No, there was still some bummer things. My son was in a moped accident and broke his arm. Like serious things happened, but I'm still having the most abundant summer ever. That doesn't mean that everything is perfect, that everything is great. And that one accident doesn't mean that the whole month is, negative and tainted with this negativity. No, right? Like there was a ton of very positive things. He was wearing his helmet. There was kids with him and he was in like an area where there was no traffic. Like it could have been way worse. I was very thankful he was only injured the way he was and it's going to completely heal. Very positive. But yeah, it was a setback, right? It was very scary. It was, very traumatic for him, very painful for him, and hard for me to watch him go through that. But it didn't debunk my having the most abundant summer ever. And my mantra, if you want to call it that, didn't put a rosy colored glass lens on the whole incident where I didn't recognize how serious it was, how scary it was, how painful it was. All of those were real experiences, emotions, and that is part of it, right? Our lives are always 50-50, and it has to be because without the contrast, you don't know the difference. I don't know how great the days are without having some bad days. So we can appreciate the difference, we can appreciate the contrast, but we can be intentional on how we want to design our experience. And we just have to remember that this is the work, and this is the work every day. And when we embrace it like we do anything else, like the healthy eating plan and the exercise regimes, like when we imagine the outcome at the end, right? We're the person that walks every day, and this is the level of health that we maintain. And I'm a person that never eats this kind of food, and I always try to get, prioritize protein and get enough fruits and vegetables. And we get behind it in a way that we're excited to do these things because we know what the long-term outcome is, right? That's the desired result is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? Like that's what we're going after. And it's not like we arrive there and it's done. It's over. We like finish line, right? It's not like that. It does plateau, right? Just like anything, the exercise routines or workouts get easier. We do get to a point where we're just maintaining, and we've accomplished our desired results, and then we just maintain, but we don't stop doing it. Right? It's not like, oh, I reached this level of health, so I can just go back to eating McDonald's every day and never work out anymore, right? That's not what it is, and that's not what this is either. And so when we can get behind it with that excitement and kind of like full commitment of, I do want that desired result. And it's okay if some days I fall off the wagon. It's okay if some days I don't work out. I can't fit it into my schedule. I just don't have the energy. And some days I make a poor choice with my food choices. It happens, but that doesn't erase all of the progress. And it doesn't mean that we have to, throw in the towel and we can't do this and give up on all of it. It just means we're human. And that's what happens. And we're like, okay, a little setback or a little derailment, and back on the path we go, and back to the commitment of the long-term result that we're going after. And this is the work every day to remember and remind ourselves that we are not our thoughts. They're not just who we are. They're just something that happens in our mind that we can pause and take a look at. And we can decide that every day this is going to be part of our lives because we want that long-term result. Just like we walk every day, just like we make good food choices, we manage our mind every day. And this is a reminder for me as much as for every one of you, because I do the same thing. As soon as it starts getting easy and it's like, oh, I'm remembering, like I'll be really diligent about being intentional about it. And then it'll get to be what I would consider somewhat of a habit. I'll end up like, whoa, a couple days went by and I was not directing my mind and I was doing so good. And then whoop, just fall off the wagon. It's like, oh my gosh. And so I realized that even when we can put it into practice as somewhat of a habit, we can slip off the path. We can hit a derailment, hit a bump in the road, and we just got to get back up and just keep going. And it's not like you're starting over. There's a lot of muscle memory there. It's like, oh yeah, I want to remember that this is where I want to direct my thoughts. This is my go-to thinking. And it will get easier. It will get more second nature. And honestly, like the work to like intentionally direct our mind every day, whether it's, if you want to do some meditating, if you want to do journaling, if you just want to set a reminder and be like, okay, remind myself, put a sticky note on the mirror. Sometimes I'll do that. And actually this time I thought, maybe I need to do that. My fear with that is, and maybe you've heard this before, but like you put a sticky note on the mirror and then you just get like, you don't even realize that it's there anymore. So you change the color of the sticky note, you change the location, and you have to keep switching it up because we just get on autopilot, right? I talked about this last week, I think it was. We just get used to it and our brain loves the efficiency, the go-to. And so we don't recognize that there's a note there that says this, and we might even read it. And it's just like, we don't actually intentionally do what the note says. I'm having the most abundant summer ever. It's like, oh yeah, right? It's like, no, I pause and I take a moment to be like, what am I thinking about right now? And what do I want to think instead? And actually taking the time to do that little tiny bit of work, right? We're talking seconds to minutes, not 15 minutes to an hour. It's very few minutes. And what I love is to do some of this stuff while we're doing something else. Like I brush my teeth every day or while I'm in the shower and just being intentional about it. But sometimes we need that reminder. We need that, like that trigger of, oh yeah, I need to be doing this every day so that we don't slip off, right? So I encourage you to find a way to have a trigger, have it be the sticky note on the mirror, have an alarm on your phone, have it be something that you just do every day. While I drink my coffee, I pull out my journal. While I brush my teeth, I put the sticky note the night before, and then while I brush my teeth, I'm intentionally doing my thought work and I move that around on the mirror. I change the color, I write it different. And I just set the intention. I tell myself I'm a person that does this every single day. And when one of the other things that I've talked about is like when like certain like the autopilot or like the negative thinking comes back in and it's usually some go-to thoughts. It's like, no, brain, we're not thinking that anymore. We're thinking like this. And being that like stern with your brain, it will listen. And it's like a toddler, so it might take several times and it might be very frustrating. And when we can think of our brain like a toddler with a knife or a toddler that wants to stick its finger in the light socket, we can go, no, brain, we're not doing that. We're thinking like this. And then we just keep redirecting, just like a toddler, numerous times. And it will get easier and it will kind of plateau and we will coast where some of those thoughts become our go-to thoughts and we've reprogrammed the thinking. But it can take practice. And we can decide that changing the thoughts or changing the belief can be fast and easy. And that's like one of my things is like, it can be fast and easy. It will be fast and easy for me. And sometimes I feel like I've, even gotten that into place and still regressed. And it's like, wow, I thought I got there. I thought I was there and I wasn't. And that's okay. I just keep redirecting. It's like, okay, this time I need to be more firm. I need to be more diligent. I need to be more intentional. And right? I just like get like more excited and more stern. And it's like, okay, I just kind of rally and it's like, all right, I got to try harder. I got to put more effort in. I got to be, just bring more energy to it. And I do that instead of just letting myself coast like, oh, this isn't going to work or this is never going to work for me. All of our brains are the same. They all work the same and we can do it. We just have to decide we want it. Because the long-term outcome, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're doing it. That's why all of this work is so important. We want those things. And we just have to keep our eye on that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, that's where we're going and that's what we want. And every day is the work, is catching the thoughts, becoming aware, noticing and pausing to remind ourselves our thoughts are not who we are. I get to decide this. Is this what I want to be thinking? What do I want to think instead? And the more we get like practiced with that, the catching of the thoughts will become easier, but there might still be days like for me, like days will go by, not just like half a day, but like days will go by. It's like, wow, I have not been managing my mind for a few days now. Like, how did that happen? All right? Like just get back in the saddle. Let's recoup here. Let's regroup and let's redirect again. It's like, okay, I got this. Try harder, be more firm, all the things. But don't let it be, I give up, I can't do this, and just like give up on all of it. It's just a setback. It's not a complete failure. And we can learn like, what can I do that might work for longer, that might be where I won't become so complacent? Like, how can I integrate this to be more diligent about it? And for each of us, it might be different. And we might switch it up, right? Like set an alarm on our phone for a while. Then sometimes like that'll annoy me. It's like, okay, that isn't it. Okay, I'll set my journal by my coffee cup and that'll work for a couple of days. And then I just don't even notice it sitting there. So just whatever we need to do to keep switching it up, to keep what came to mind is like surprising our brain. Like, oh yeah, I want to do that. Right? Because we do want to. And sometimes we just need to generate the desire for this, like the desire for that outcome, right? It's the, I wanted to say like, it's the dream outcome, right? It's our desire. And when we generate that desire in us, that like brings up all of that motivation and that like excitement to achieve the thing, to do the thing. And it's such a like amazing accomplishment. It's a sense of pride that we're doing it, even if we haven't arrived there yet. Like the pride that we can feel about staying on course, even if we haven't gotten there yet, right? So it's just like everything else, just like the eating plan and the exercise. Like we make progress as we go, and we can be so proud of all of the work that we put in, even if there is a setback, even if there is a derailment. We can feel proud of ourselves for setting the intention and getting back on path, redirecting and refocusing and continuing to do the work, even if we missed a couple of days. It's totally fine. It isn't a complete failure. It isn't a throw in the towel. It isn't to give up. It's just a get back up again. It's just a little setback. So, this is the work, knowing and reminding ourselves that we are not our thoughts. Our thoughts are not who we are. They are part of us, but we can also separate from them and take a look at them and notice and become aware and assess, like, is this what I want to be thinking? And what do I want to be thinking instead? And what do I want my experience to be like? And what thoughts are in alignment with that, right? That's where my I'm having the most abundant summer ever came from, is that's the outcome that I want. And when I started, I was so excited and I was like, this is going to be so easy. And it was easy at first. And then I got complacent again. And honestly, as good as it felt, I was shocked that my brain would just like fall off the rails. It was honestly very surprising, but I was like, okay, now I know I have to be like, I have to make sure I set the intention every single day and maybe multiple times a day and switch it up and find new ways and more exciting ways. And so I know that now. And that's the work, is finding what works for us. And I'm here to bring you new ideas and like new ways to look at things, new ways to kind of like get I don't know how I want to say it, like get onto our brain of like, oh, okay, this is what my brain does, or this is what, this can happen. So I've got to put some other kind of safety net in place, right? We're all learning about ourselves as we go through this and we figure out what works for us and what we enjoy, right? There's a lot of ways to do this work. Find the ways that we really enjoy so that we can build that desire and excitement to do it so we can create that experience that is what we want to have. It's all available to us. We just have to commit and stay committed and get back up when we have a setback. It's part of the human experience. Nothing's gone wrong. There's nothing wrong with us. It's just this beautiful human brain that we were blessed with and blessed it, right? That's just how it works. And when we can understand that and appreciate it and know what we have to work with, then we can navigate it. And that's this thing we called life, right? Okay. Until next week, I hope you have an amazing week, reminding yourself that you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are not who you are. You always have the option to choose and decide exactly what you want to think. Have an amazing week. I'll catch you next week.